I said I was going to get some more wrestling content out to you, and here I am covering NXT's The Great American Bash. And honestly, it was a pretty cool card. I think my biggest complaint with the show was not enough title changes, and that's fine. I mean, NXT, The Great American Bash, isn't really considered one of the top shows for NXT. But I would have liked to see title changes, especially because there was a few wrestlers in here that were competing for the title that definitely could have used that like momentum push. But besides that, it was an overall good card. The matches were great, and there were some really good moments in here. So to start things off, I'm gonna go in any order. I'm just gonna start in the order I choose, and that's gonna be with the first matchup: Tony D'Angelo and Naraku. I'm gonna be honest, I haven't really cared for this men's title division in a while, and it hurts because after the loss of Trick Williams, Obafemi, Javon Evans, and then Ricky Saints and Ethan Page leaving, you have had a desperate need to fill in that gap for the men's main title scene, and you put Tony D'Angelo there, and I think Tony D is definitely a great wrestler. He's an entertainer. I like some of the stuff he does on the mic, but right now, it just feels like there's no one he can go up against. And then you bring in this new wrestler, Naraku. Now, I'm too unfamiliar with him, but I believe he's married to Io Sky, and he is also, um, I don't want to guess what company he worked in, but he's obviously been in some other companies wrestling. So he's a good wrestler by all means, but I don't know. I This match was good. It was intense, and we see Tony D'Angelo retains. It was all right, getting more into Tony D'Angelo's run, but I feel like right now there's still the issue wasn't this match. The issue was they need to find ways to make this main title more entertaining and more electric because what they used to have, all of them are now on the main roster. So it definitely is a gap to need to be filled in, but it wasn't bad by any means. Next matchup is Ren Sinclair versus Ariana Grace for the Women's Speed Championship. I think this was one of the matches we could have used a title change. I think both of these two wrestlers are phenomenal in the ring. Ariana Grace, I mean, she's good on the mic. She's a part of a faction now with Birthright. And then she had some time in TNA where she became the TNA Knockouts Women's Champion, that's their main title for the women wrestlers. So she's by no means a pushover of a superstar. And then of course her dad is Santino Marella. So she's got what it takes to be the champ. And I think Ren Sinclair definitely is a good wrestler, but right now she doesn't really have much going on for her besides that title. And of course Kendall Gray, who's in a match later this show. So I thought maybe we could have used the title change here to give it to Ariana Grace. It would have been cool to see like, well, Ren loses her title, Kendall at least wins hers. But it was a good match. It was a very good match. It was a great way to showcase the two wrestlers. Um, by no means am I mad about Ren Sinclair staying as champion, but Ariana Grace would have been a cool shakeup at least. And I believe Ren Sinclair won in under 30 seconds. I believe it came down to the wire in terms of time because speed championships are 5 minute timed matches, and so it was a good match. It was definitely an entertainer to help this show. It helped elevate it in definitely in some ways. The next match up I have is going to be Zarya versus Tatum Paxley for the Women's North American Championship. I think this was also a good match, but similar to Tony D'Angelo versus Naraku, this title division needs to see some more faces, and I get it. We're shifting towards a lot of wrestlers being called up to the main roster, so it's going to take time, of course. But you should start calling up your Evolve superstars because right now Zarya and Tatum Paxley are basically just your only veterans in this division, if you will. And so storylines can run dry at times. But good match overall. I just think in terms of long-term storytelling, you definitely need more wrestlers to fill in these gaps. And I feel like you're going to get there. But it was a good match. Simply focused on the match. It wasn't bad. Next matchup, Shiloh Hill versus Kristen Angels. This was also a good match. I think Shiloh Hill is a very underrated superstar. He's very good. Tristan Angels is very good. We're both up and coming guys. I know Shiloh, I want to say he was on the uh, series LFG where you had like the mentors training superstars. I believe he won, actually. Could be wrong on that though. Uh, or if he didn't win, at least he was like a looked at guy. So he's been new recently, but he's already making a lot of popularity with his time in NXT. And then Tristan Angels also came from Evolve, and they called him up immediately. From what I'm aware of, he didn't spend too much time down there. He's doing good right now. So these two superstars, they worked well together. I like they had a cool under the ring segment where Tristan was under the ring and it turned into like a cinematic type of match. So that was pretty cool. Then they get back in the ring and Shiloh Hill picks up the victory here. Just a filler match, but it was a very entertaining filler match. Next, Miles Bourne versus Tavion Heights. My whole conversation so far has been about titles possibly changing hands, and I feel like this is where it also could have used it. I think Miles Bourne is extremely great. I think they've really pushed him in the right direction. They're working on his mic skills. Of course, it's not his fault of his speech being the way it is, because I do believe he is partially deaf. But he's been great as champion. I just would have loved to see Tavion Heights win it because I think a guy like him has all the potential in the world. I feel like you gotta give him a shot eventually because I don't think he's had multiple title opportunities in the North American title scene. He's lost them all, so it kind of hurts to see that. But when I think of a guy like Tavion Heights, just from in-ring ability and like his overall hype and potential, I think of a guy that I think Tavion Heights is a great in-ring work, and I don't know, I feel like he needs his time to shine. This could have been a card to use because, Great American Bash, Tavion Heights is an Olympian, an Olympian. And so, I feel like this is where you could use it, but overall not a bad match. This was a great match. Probably my second favorite match on the card, but of course Miles Bourne retains. Nothing wrong with it, just wish I would like to see a title change. Next matchup, we got Saquon Sugars versus Dion Lennox. This is probably tied for my favorite match. Definitely tied. I know I said Miles Bourne and Tavion Heights are my second favorite match, but I guess technically that would mean they're third if I have a two-way tie for first. This match was really entertaining. I think both of these guys got potential to be stars, just like I said with Tavion and even Miles Bourne. But Saquon Sugars picks up the victory here. I think it was the right decision. After getting kicked out from Dark State, he, started calling out Dion Lennox like, what the heck? And both of these guys, they got it from mic work to in-ring. In-ring, they're both so good. I think NXT really found their next guys. It's gonna be some time in NXT for them though, because I can only imagine once they're done with this Dark State feud, both of them are gonna be chasing championships. So it will be quite some time until they get to the main roster. But of course, NXT is no pushover of a show, and so they'll do just fine in NXT for the time they are in there. But Saquon Sugars, let me just say this: he was a standout of the entire show, not just this match. His entrance, I have some thoughts on it. It definitely had a nice beat to it, but the producer tag was not needed. Maybe I can see if I can play the audio clip.
I want to see Saquon.
But his producer tag was definitely, I wasn't vibing with it. But he was moving out. He was moving like Drake. Okay, he was moving like the Candy Man.
Cheese and candies. The Candy Man's home.
And he did his thing. He was able to pick up this victory. So it was a good match and definitely was one of my favorites on the entire show. For my main event, and it was the main event of the show, Kendall Gray versus Lola Vice for the NXT Women's Championship. And this match delivered, okay? Lola Vice, I've been iffy about for some time. I don't think her mic work is the best, and I feel like she definitely has been utilized as a star more on AAA than NXT at times, because I mean, of course, her Latin roots lean more towards AAA than NXT, of course, but they made a big decision to put the title on her, and she's been delivering. She's a good wrestler in ring work, but of course, the undeniable Kendall Gray had to show up ever since Evolve, doing her thing, and then now making it to the NXT roster. I think this is someone that needs to be pushed right away. I think of Kendall Gray as someone even like Blake Monroe. Blake had a short stint in NXT and was immediately called up to SmackDown. I wanted this for Kendall Gray, but I'm not going to complain about an NXT championship run out of her. I think she's deserving. She pulled up to the show dressed like Kurt Angle. I don't think she obviously isn't the daughter of Kurt Angle, but she's been coined the term Kurt Angle's daughter. She wrestles identical to him, and it's so cool seeing her wrestle like that. That style of wrestling, it's entertaining, and again, like dream booking of mine, Team Gable, bruh. Put Kendall Gray, Tavion Heights, and Chad Gable together. That's an unstoppable trio right there. Okay, but that's just personal booking. But Kendall Gray has everything to be a superstar in this company. I found her a very entertaining wrestler, definitely the top female superstar in the company for NXT and Evolve, and so it was only a matter of time until she won. I saw this coming, doesn't mean it wasn't a great match. Very entertaining overall, and yeah, I can happily say she's now the champion. I'm excited to see her run. I don't know where it goes next. I'm assuming Kalani Jordan, and yeah, it was an entertaining show overall. I know there was some segments every now and then because this show is technically still like an NXT episode, if you will. So there were some backstage segments with some of the wrestlers. I know Keanu Carver had some segments, other wrestlers as well. Overall, a great show. Nothing too special about it, but it was a great thing to watch with my time whenever it was streaming. And it was the only thing I was able to stream that day because I was struggling to find TNA and AEW, and those videos will be coming out relatively around the same time. So, overall, good show. I enjoyed NXT's Great American Bash. If you've seen it, I'd like to hear your thoughts on it in the comments, maybe, if you checked it out. And yeah, that's going to be all for today's video. More should be on the way with AEW and TNA's Slammiversary and Forbidden Door.